30 years.
And I can't stay too long.
And you have an interesting name. Yes. You have 3 names.
Bernhard, Siegfried, Wolf.
I like that story.
Actually, Bernhard Siegfried Wolf,
Yes.
better known as Barnyard Siegfried Wolf. No, that's not true. I never let them know my middle name. I would never have let them know my middle name. In school, are you kidding? Siegfried? Grade school?
My lunch too like yours.
No, I'm pretty shaky actually. And then you keep making me laugh.
Practice or?
Yeah. I'm not a good tripod at all.
Founding myth of Canada, and you.
All I ever had to say was that if you can explain a lot about North America and what happened in the history of North America,
Yes.
by, you know, my silly little tale of saying that it was settled by a bunch of white Europeans who ran amok. And so they just overran the land and turned it into what they wanted it to be.
Turned it into another Europe.
Yeah, you know, they got rid of the indigenous population, brought in slaves, just
Right.
took over the show.
Right. North America, Canada, Quebec, pretty well the
America,
same.
all of America, yeah.
The same story.
Pretty sad in some ways. Embarrassing
South
sometimes.
America too.
Yeah. But South America, I can't even read about South America. At the time I first heard of that, I think it was grade 4 we first heard of, you know, Pizarro and Cortez and their conquest, and I just felt sick when I heard that.
Right.
I still do. I still can't read it.
Yeah, they killed.
Yeah, and you know,
many people.
68 men with Pizarro, I think, or something like that. And a few horses. And they took over the whole country. Very
Right.
sad.
And with that gold, with the gold from Peru, they made war in Europe.
Yeah, yeah. Lovely people. White Europeans were not much. Christianity on their side.
Oh yes, that's in the name of God.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Convert or else.
Yes, yeah.
Right.
Cap on. Right?
Okay.
Where's your chair? Where's
There we
your
go.
canvas back chair?
Yeah.
He's
And you're
starting
missing
already.
here. Here,
I
you're
can't
missing
stand
here.
it. The camera's not
Hang
even
on.
rolling yet.
Hang on. You gotta, you know. Okay, all right. There
See?
you go.
He does that sort of stuff, and the camera's not on. So
It's
now
on.
I have to
It's
do
on.
it again.
No, it's on.
You have a favorite song that
Here she goes with the song. Yeah, MacArthur. It's not a favorite song. It's something that I get a kick out of it. I like the words, MacArthur Park. You can sing it if you like, because it doesn't, you know, and Richard Harris did. He's not a singer, so you can actually sing it yourself. And even though you might sound terrible, that's fine. That's the way it should sound. It should sound bad.
it should sound bad.
It should sound bad, yeah. And I won't sing it for you.
No.
Unless you do a duet with me.
Oh dear, I don't know the words.
We can get the words right here.
MacArthur Park is melting in the rain.
I wouldn't do it in front of, you know, ordinary people.
You'll
It would
cheer.
not be good.
How about the good ship Lollipop?
No,
No.
thanks. No, that's a song I would never sing.
You said you met some girls on a ship who were able to.
Yeah, I went to Europe once when I was 10 years old on a liner, a small liner, and there were 3, you know, would-be or up-and-coming singing stars, sisters, and that was, they did a little concert for us, and that was the big song. I think it was maybe it was a hit at that time, I don't know. The Good Ship Lollipop. It would have been 1960. On the Good Ship Lollipop. Terrible song.
What are the words?
I don't
You remember the words?
You know, which one on the way to the, I can't remember the words. I think I could only remember if I sang.
I thought we could change the words to the good ship Odyssey.
Good Ship Odyssey. No.
And from MacArthur Park, you could sing Odyssey is melting
Someone left
in the
the book.
rain.
No, someone left the book out in the rain.
There you go.
I don't think that I can take it because it took so
Takes
long to write it, and I'll never be able to
Have
write
that
that way
shop
again.
Yeah, see, it's terribly sad.
You know, all the sweet green icing dripping down.
What's on witches? Do you have any books on witches?
Be in the New Age section.
Witches in the New Age.
Yes. Well, it depends. You want historical witches or
Historical.
or
the hysterical ones.
or yeah,
histories. Okay.
But I mean, I don't quite know what you're trying to do for your little show here because we've had a sale now for 4 weeks,
Yes.
which means that, you know, the really juicy stuff is gone.
Well, here's the
Yeah.
goodness, somebody hasn't bought that yet? So the juicy stuff is gone, so it's which is kind of juicy.
We've been in here, I believe. Here, the trial of Temple Annika. What's this? Here, records of a witchcraft trial in Brunswick, Germany. My wife read that. It was very good, apparently.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Records of
Yeah.
1663.
Yeah.
Oh, right. She liked it.
The heyday of the witches.
Yes, yeah, the burned 9 million witches.
Well, 9 million, but
That's what they said.
9 million? I don't think so. There weren't that many people in the world. Were there?
Yeah, I don't know the fellow about it.
Okay, well, that's the only witch.
Have been laid upon your table,
Never
but you won't walk alone if you can't get.
So you are in the book business? Yes.
That's what some people say.
Right. That's and I brought a book for you to assess.
Assess.
Yeah, to see what you think of what category it would go in. Or you can also show it to Jessica.
Sight and Geist.
Sight means time.
Time.
Geist is spirit.
Yeah.
Well, that's just something.
That's the publisher.
That's right.
Martha Brooke.
Your prison.
Strangers. Poems of love. They're not supposed to. This has been notated already.
Yes.
Wow.
Right. And written in it, so that reduces the value, I suppose.
Well, I mean, if you ask me to evaluate it in terms of for the store, would I buy it? Would I sell it? Could I sell it?
People don't buy poetry, right?
Yes, they do buy poetry.
They do?
Yeah, I've always been willing to gamble a bit on poetry because I think most, I mean, other than the obvious things that people always look for, you know, poets, you know, the beat poets, that's the obvious stuff. But
Right.
I find that people are willing to gamble on poetry more so than most other types of books.
They just pick it up cold.
Well, yeah, because you can just pick it up,
It's
open
small.
it up, look at it, you know, read a page or a page and a half and see whether or not it does anything for you. And if you price it well enough, which I try to do on those books, never fuck with a writer.
Is that?
That's what it says right there. I didn't make it up. I didn't
Really?
make it up. That's what it says.
The bad word.
Yes.
The F word. In print.
It's only a word.
It's only
It's only a word.
words will never hurt you.
Yeah. The thing about English swearing is you can tell, even if someone's in their car, you can tell they're swearing in English because it's like, it's very.
It doesn't
Yeah.
sound like Kaolis Tabernacle.
She's a Canadian author, I see. The only thing that ever worries me about these books, I look in the front, and if it says in the front, which this one does not, but if it says in the front that it's been,
Expurgated?
no, that it's been published with a government grant,
Oh,
then I'm always a bit suspicious about those books.
why? Oh, because
Well, I just wonder what their merit, I mean, you know, what their merit might be.
self-published is better. Self-published is better.
Well, this is published by a publisher. You know,
Yes.
it's published by an actual publisher. So somewhere along the way, this company, Sight and Geist, thought that this writer was good enough to publish without a grant, without a government grant.
Okay, right. Yes.
So to me, that kind of says something.
Somebody liked it more than the government did.
Well, I mean, you know, someone was willing to put their money behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the government, I wonder. I mean, I don't know how it works. This book, by the way, has been very well thumbed.
Yes,
I mean, someone really liked it.
It's been
Is this your book?
annotated.
Did you read all of this?
I did. I wrote it.
Oh, really? Oh, you wrote it? Yeah. I mean, I had a
that's
quick
your
glance, and I wasn't 100% sure, but yeah.
I was wondering
Yes.
how long it would take you to.
Yeah, no, I didn't
No,
look
you
close
didn't
enough
read
at
it.
it.
No, I don't. It's
But
me.
now, I don't know
Yeah.
who thumbed this.
Me.
You did? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So does that increase the value because the writer wrote in it?
Well,
herself?
only if we know that it's your thumb marks, you know.
I see.
But yeah, it would. I mean, if you were Hemingway,
Yes.
it would make it very valuable.
But I am
If
not.
you were Gertrude Stein
Yes.
or someone of that ilk,
If I
yes,
become famous.
you may well, you know, after you're dead. You know, so who did the photography?
An artist.
A friend of yours.
Yes.
Yes, the photos inside are.
Do you think they're like okay? They're not too erotic?
No, that's two legs together. Is hardly what I would call erotic. And anyway, today, erotic in today's age.
It's hardly erotic. Uh-huh.
If anything, erotic would be good. You know, it certainly be hardcore.
No, not hardcore.
No, not at all. Yeah, I think it's evocative. There.
I wanted to write my own erotic, you know, I thought women should write erotic poetry too, not men.
Oh, plenty of women write it, I think.
Oh, they do?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
I think women are more erotic than men.
I
That
see.
way. I think they're more interested.
Now we're getting to the truth of
I
the
think they're
matter.
more interested in the eroticism of things than just, you know,
So where
the
would,
immediate consummation.
Well, look at 50 Shades of Grey.
Hmm?
Look at 50 Shades of Grey.
yeah.
Well,
Written
yeah,
by a
exactly.
woman and
Yeah.
it took off.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I've never read it.
But it took 3 volumes, you know.
Yeah.
It was not immediate gratification there.
It's a little bit about controlled erotic. It's weird.
Shades of Grey.
Yeah. Right. Bondage and stuff.
You might not get exactly what the words all mean, yet somehow you feel that you're a part of it anyway. You know,
Yes.
It resonates. It's something resonates inside, even though you might not necessarily make total sense of the words.
It's irrational, I think. That's why poetry appeals to you, because it doesn't have to make sense of life.
Yeah.
Or it's
yeah,
at another
exactly.
level. It's
I
spiritual.
remember reading once. I think it was Dylan Thomas was saying, where he grew up, in the bars in the evening, people would recite poetry, and it wasn't so much about meaning. It was the sound. It was the sound of the words.
Evocative sound. That's
Yeah.
right. Music. It's
Yeah.
music.
Music,
Yes,
yeah.
that's Homer's Odyssey. It was
Yeah.
recited as poetry. That's what they say.
When I was alive, I dived headlong into cold wind and snow pellets just to see you smile and watch the breath rise with the words you spoke into everything I could not capture with my own.
Okay, good.
All alone at
Martha,
the
my dear.
end of the
Gee.
evening, and the bright lights have faded to blue. I was thinking about the one man who might love me. I never knew. You know, I've always been a dreamer. I spend my life running round, and it's so hard to change. Can't seem to settle down with the dreams I've seen lately. They're all turning out and burning out and turning out the same. So put me on a highway and show me a sign, and take it to the limit one more time. You can spend all your time making money. You can spend all your love making time. If it all tomorrow,
So it's a statement of our times. And, I guess
when you're looking for your freedom,
Eat them.
Eat them.
Yeah.
Eat books.
No, eat people.
yeah, well, pet food. I mean, you gotta keep the balance happy.
Goodness, you people are so cynical.
He's the cynical one. I call him, his nickname is Doom and Gloom.
Yeah.
Impending catastrophe.
Well, look, I tell it as it is.
Global warming,
It's,
financial meltdown, end of the world as we know it.
it's true.
It's all true. See, there you go.
put me on a highway, show me a sign,
window was boarded up with plywood. He was there. So was hanging around. That's why I
right.
say I think it was him.
He returned to the scene of the crime.
But anyway, long story short, the fire marshal came, and as a matter of fact, I mentioned this person to the fire marshal. I said, by the way, this guy here is kind of, you know, I think he's a bit suspicious. And the fire marshal said to me, he said, well, you know, that's what he says about you. And I wasn't quick enough to say, well, but I don't have insurance. Like, I would torch my own building for fun.
Sure.
You know, with my books in it, right? That makes a lot of sense. Anyway, we open it up, I go in, and there's virtually no damage. Right? And I couldn't understand how that could be. What had happened was that, unbeknownst to me, the Kravitzes used to live in that building, upstairs. And so they had tinned the ceiling above the basement location where it was, so that if a fire was started downstairs, it wouldn't go up. And so when they fought the fire, the water would cross the ceiling, behind the books, onto the floor.
Outrageous.
So I didn't lose any books. And at that time, this location was available 20 years ago. I moved into here.
20 years ago.
And it's been good ceiling ever since that point. So the best thing that ever happened to me was a fire.
Unbelievable.
If you can figure that one out.
Well, location.
Yeah. But a fire, I think the best thing that ever happened to me, a fire.
It's
And usually people say, oh, you had insurance. No, I didn't have insurance. How can that be the best thing that happened to you? But it was.
And all the books, did you have as many books as you have here
No,
now?
not as many, no. And in fact, I lost one bookcase. And if someone had said to me, listen, you're going to have a fire, you're going to lose a bookcase, pick it. That's the one I lost.
That's the one that got burned.
Yeah. Water damage.
Probably a glass case.
No.
No.
No, just it was science fiction and foo-foo stuff.
Oh, the books you mean? You lost the books.
Yeah.
So your little donkey helped you move all the books over.
He didn't exist yet.
It wasn't called Odyssey at that time?
Yes, it was, but the donkey wasn't part of the team.
Oh.
He came later. We had to import him.
It began with strange chemicals seething under a sky, lacking in oxygen. It was waged through the long ages until the first green planets learned to harness the light of the nearest star, our sun. The human brain, so frail, so perishable, so full of inexhaustible dreams and hungers, burns by the power of the leaf. The human body is a magical vessel, but its life is linked with an element it cannot produce. Only the green plant knows the secret of transforming the light that comes to us across the far reaches of space. There is no better illustration of the intricacy of man's relationship. Increasingly, he asks of the bony fragments recovered from pre-Ice Age straits, and whether they are related to himself, but what manner of creature they proclaim us to be. Of the answer that may come up from underground, we are all of too evidently afraid. There are even those who have dared prematurely to announce a verdict. Look, they say, at the dark instincts that drive you. Look deep into your bloody fossil encrusted hearts. Then you will know man. You will know him from the caves.
The most interesting book I ever read was, in fact, I've got a copy of it here. It's by Stephen Jay Gould, Wonderful Life, which is the story of the Burgess Shale in BC. I don't know if you ever heard of the Burgess Shale, but
Yes, right.
what it is it's one of the two places on the earth where soft-shelled creatures have been fossilized. Because usually the soft-shelled creatures were not fossilized, they just decomposed and that was it. So we only had later species. But the soft shells are earlier. I mean, the first life forms on Earth were those soft-shelled creatures. So,
Right, and there they
they're
are
in the Burgess Shale.
in the
Fascinating
Rocky
book.
Mountains. He's a Canadian, right?
Fascinated me with this book was that I found myself really being excited reading it. I thought, how can he be?
Oh,
He's such
he
a
makes
good
it
writer.
exciting.
Oh, he's a
Well,
great
there
writer.
you
Yeah,
go.
it really is. And he made it exciting. I read the entire book, and it's just all these odd and unusual creatures, and they're all captured in the Burgess Shale.
Was it this book, this copy that you read?
No, not this particular one.
Do you write in your books when you read them?
No.
No.
I believe you are a temporary custodian. Only like the land behooves you to take care of it in the future.
Do not write in your books.
No, I mean, you can. It's your book, I guess. If it's something I really think is mine, it will only ever be mine, then I might occasionally write.
I'm a compulsive underliner.
Right.
Can
Well,
you
the thing-
show Jessica the cover? Did you show her the cover?
Yeah.
Nice cover.
These are all little creatures. The first life
Soft
forms on Earth,
shells.
you know. They're all kind of strange, bizarre creatures. And they're all captured in the Burgess Shale. So that was fun. But history in general. And right up to present day history, so that you can converse somewhat intelligently with someone.
Right.
Without having to run back and forth to your iPad or something. Like reading, period, is interesting and fascinating. That's why, as I said before, someone that doesn't read, to me, seems to be someone that's not interested in life. Because how can you be interested in life and not be reading something? I don't know. I can't understand that.
So how do you have time to read? You have so many books, you don't have time to read.
Oh well, I don't read. You don't get to read in the bookstore much.
No.
People have this unreal notion that you sit around. You have a used bookstore. You sit around reading books. I don't know who buys them, who shelves them, who cleans them, who sells them. I don't know who does that. But you sit around reading books. No, not in the store. But I was fortunate. I took the train to work all the time, so I had half an hour on the train. The train is perfect. There's no like bumping and banging and being shaken about. So I had an hour each day on the train, and then in the evening an hour or so, and maybe on the weekend a bit here and there. But that's it. It's right on my time. In the stores, like if you get a page full range or something like that.
Right. You sacrifice to reading for the sake of books.
I like the way
The oldest book in the world is a papyrus containing the Proverbs of Ptahhotep, an Egyptian king who reigned some 3000 BC, which was before the birth of Abraham. It has been in part translated by Shabbos and others, and may be seen in the English dress in J.D. Heath's record of the patriarchal age.
around, 'cause I got a peaceful
Oh, okay. It wasn't even
Probably
a
still
road.
isn't a road. We had to cross the lake either in a rowboat or we had to walk the rails. A couple of miles. We had to walk
Back on
the
those,
rails.
back on those railroad tracks.
Yeah. And it was not a Western style ghost town. It wasn't, you know, Main Street or like little paths, a couple of cabins here, a couple there. You know, there's an old kind of hotel or something along the railway line. And, it was mostly draft dodgers that we were. And, they were planning on spending the winter. I don't know if they ever made it. I mean, we chopped wood. From what I know now, with all the green wood they ended up. They had like, you know, a few 100-pound sacks of
So you would just
flour
run
and
into
rice.
these, you would just run into draft dodgers in your travels?
No, this was a second time I went to BC. I hitchhiked once to BC as well. I got picked up by some draft dodgers. That was 1970. The first one was 66. I think the freight train was. That was in 1966. In fact, we stumbled into San Francisco. No idea what was going on in San Francisco.
Oh yeah, you're telling me that.
We had no clue. We just kind of stumbled into San Francisco. Freaks with hair down to here, boots up to here.
Yeah.
It was wild.
It took a long time for that to all spread. Like people forget
Yeah.
how the earliest.
Well, not really,
people-
because Toronto, we had the village in Toronto at that time, so there was already kind of like a scene in the village, but no one had heard. We hadn't heard of San Francisco because I was there the fall before the summer was, so it hadn't yet hit the national press and everything. Right? So we just kind of stumbled on it.
There was no Twitter or
Nothing.
Facebook
no,
or anything like that back then.
no,
So
nothing at all. Yeah. So it's kind of what the heck is going on here? And we ended up one night we were trying to sell postcards
did
to
you
the
see the
hippies at
section over here?
Ashbury.
Ready to go? Okay.
Okay.
So, in 500 years, books have really become part of our culture.
Right.
And I noticed that you have labels for every category. Do you have any idea how many labels you have, like categories or sections?
I actually
I
don't.
counted 20
Really?
over there in this little section here in Canada section. So,
Well, I think we have, I think we've categorized almost everything that you could think of. I mean, you could subcategorize to no end, but we haven't done that. I'm trying to think of the categories we don't have. We have pet care, cooking, new age, and golf. I see a golf section, hunting, fishing. So, we don't have romance.
you don't have romance?
No, there's some kind of a stigma attached to a bookstore having romance titles. I don't know why that is, but there seems to be some kind of stigma.
No harlequins.
No harlequin romance, no. I'm always amazed, occasionally I'll have, more than very often actually, I've had someone call me.
His nickname is
Wanted to sell harlequin romance, and they invariably tell me they have 1,000.
Impending catastrophe.
And, I never have
Warming,
those.
financial meltdown. The end of the world as we know it.
You should meet my mom.
Really?
She has them all in a box in her attic.
They're all the same.
They're all the same book.
Exactly. So, well, I don't know what's going on there, but no, we don't have a romance section. We have erotica. We have an erotic photography section.
You get an idea in my head,
That's one of the few sections I can.
No Danielle Steels.
No Danielle Steele. I don't get help.
So these people, they just don't
You know,
have
so that kind of goes against
the
it,
legal
you know,
handle because
to
nobody
bring
wants
as
to give
far
it
as
to
my
them,
thinking
so
about
they
a
take
bookstore.
it.
I always, you know, I've always said,
I mean, these books are all about
you shouldn't censor it, really. Anything, right? It should all be up there.
Sure, it is happening. And they're, you know,
But if you want to be highbrow,
Yeah, I guess.
middlebrow.
No, I'm middlebrow. If you think we have pet care, I mean, you wouldn't find pet care in, you know, most highbrow bookstores. You wouldn't find New Age. You won't find New Age at the Word.
No.
They won't carry that.
Right.
We call it foo-foo stuff.
Ah,
It's foo-foo. Foo-foo
okay.
books. But you know, they sell incredibly well. So it helps pay the rent. You know, makes you
Do you have recipe books too?
sure, yeah.
Sure. Oh.
Full service bookstore. But they have categorizing. I mean, it's pretty obvious. Just to help people to find what they're looking for, or to help us to find a book for them.
Is there one section that's more popular than another?
Literature's a big seller.
Literature.
Yeah, literature's a big seller. Philosophy's a big seller. Spirituality, science, histories. Those are the main items.
What's the best part about a bookstore like this? What's the worst?
Well, the best part, I think, is the challenge of putting together a good bookstore. It's the challenge of making it as good as you can. Getting all the categories filled or full up with good books. That's the challenge. That's the best part. That's the fun part. And then, watching people's reaction. They're happy to see new books coming in. And of course, they buy them.
Finding a treasure,
Yeah.
something they've been looking for.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the best part. The worst part is not having the books that people expect you to have all the time.
Ah,
And it's very frustrating.
they come in and ask for something that's
Yeah, they're always looking
obscure.
for on the road, and
Kerouac.
yeah, and you don't, or that's an example, but there's probably 100 authors like that. Slaughterhouse 5, Catch-22, Breakfast of Champions, or Address Thompson, and they expect you. They really, they just kind of in the back of their mind, they just assume that you're the bookstore, you will have those titles for them, and it's just frustrating not having them, not having enough of them often enough for people. Where's your, where are your Bukowski books? Well, I don't have any Bukowski books. People don't sell their Bukowski books.
No, there are certain books that people just hold on to.
They don't sell them, so I don't have them. So that's the
Right.
worst part.
Well, I found some real treasures here in the medieval section, I can tell you.
Well, there's not as
Yes.
much demand in
It's all in
medieval
my
studies,
house
I'll
now.
tell you. Nowhere near as junky,
Yeah, that book you showed me about the witches, fantastic.
Really?
So
Good.
unbelievable.
That's good. That's
really,
good.
really
That's
so much
good.
from that book. I'm totally pleased.
That's good.
Yeah, so do you have clients that have been with you from 20 years ago that come back?
30 years
It's
ago.
30 years
sure,
ago.
yeah.
30 years ago. 30 years of,
Yeah, I've had some right from the beginning, the very beginning, it's still come through.
still coming. Unbelievable.
One of them wants a plaque mounted on the outside of the building here.
Oh, yes?
Yeah, she's asked for a plaque in honor of her having been my longest running customer.
Who's that?
Her name is Annie.
Oh,
Annie something.
she's
with a
30
K.
years older now. So she must be
You know what's
20.
funny though? She hasn't aged.
She hasn't
Kind of
aged.
like picture Dorian Gray. She must have a picture somewhere that's, hoary. But she hasn't changed in 30 years. She still looks like she's 18 years old.
We should be so lucky.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, right. Oh, you must have a lot of those regular customers.
Yeah, not many that go back that far. I'm surprised at the number of people that have been coming through the last few weeks. You see the number of people that have been regulars over the years. There are quite a few.
And do you have photographs from that period, 20 years ago, 20, 30 years ago?
Not many.
No.
Like so.
You don't have to have a look at those.
I think people, look at the content of the book and they'll sell the book.
That's it. They might even
I've always I've chosen books, the books that I buy, for content, really.
content.
Yes.
In other words, crack the book open.
Well, I mean, either something that we know, it's a literary work, which is, so it's Hemingway or it's Kerouac, so you're buying it for, the content, literary content of the book, Or if it's nonfiction, then the content becomes even more important, perhaps.
Right. Like history or something.
Yeah,
Like that.
well, you're interested in the Ottoman Empire, then you're going to take a look at the content of the book, the publisher perhaps, the University Press book, how detailed is it, how scholarly of a book is it, meets your requirements. That would be what sells the book.
Mm-hmm. I've been thinking about how long books have been on this planet. Not that long, like 500 years. Since the
that's
printing
true.
press.
Yeah, I guess readily accessible books for most.
Right.
For the average person, yes.
Not
even that long, probably.
So at that time, they probably just had philosophy and alchemy
Or
and
religion.
Like that.
A lot of religion, probably.
Thomas Aquinas.
In fact, the easiest older books to find are religious works. So there's a lot published.
They're still hanging around.
Oh yeah, but the easiest ones are the ones where people think they have something rare because it's from 1862. But there's a lot of it out there because nobody wants it.
Nobody's reading that stuff
Not
anymore.
really, no.
So when you come into
The road up there wouldn't have been what it is today.
There wasn't a road.
Oh, okay. There wasn't even a
Still
road.
isn't a road. We had to cross the lake either in a rowboat or you had to walk the rails. A couple of miles you had to walk.
Back on
the
those,
rails.
back on those railroad tracks.
Yeah. It was not a Western style ghost town. It wasn't, you didn't have a main street. It was like little paths, and a couple of cabins here and a couple there. And, there's an old kind of hotel or something along the railway line, and it was mostly draft dodgers that were there. And they were planning on spending the winter. I don't know if they ever made we chopped wood. It was, from what I know now, it was all green wood they ended up. They had like, a few 100-pound sacks of
So you would just
flour
run
and
into
rice.
you would just run into draft dodgers in your travels?
No, this was a second time I went to BC. I hitchhiked once to BC as well, and I got picked up by some draft dodgers. That was 1970. The first time I went was 66. I did the freight train run. That was in 1966. In fact, we stumbled into San Francisco. I had no idea what was going on in San Francisco.
Oh yeah, you were telling me that once.
Yeah, we had no clue. We just kind of stumbled into San Francisco. What the hell's going on here? Like all these freaks with hair down to here, and boots up to here.
Yeah.
It was wild.
It took a long time for that to all spread. Like people forget how the earliest.
Well, not really, because Toronto, we had the village in Toronto at that time, so it was already kind of like a scene in the village. But no one had heard. We hadn't heard of San Francisco because I was there the fall before the summer of love, so it hadn't yet hit, the national press and everything, right? So we just kind of stumbled upon it.
There was no Twitter or
Nothing
Facebook
like
or anything like that back then, so.
Nothing at all. Yeah. So it's kind of what the heck is going on here? And we ended up one night, we were trying to sell postcards to the hippies in Haight-Ashbury.
I don't know what's left.
It didn't work too well.
So things are selling out, but
Well, it depends. They're kind of, a lot of them,
Hollywood.
for instance, Churchill's in British history, so it depends. Hollywood,
So yeah, just